Words of Sri Aurobindo from the book The Mother from the Collective Works of Sri Aurobindo, Volume 32, Topic The Mother's Presence, page 182, Subtopic Feeling the Mother's Presence and Seeing Visions. Question: is it true that when the presence, the image, is seen in the heart, all the habits and movements of the lower nature will disappear and there will be no disturbances from it? For this, our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, the image and the presence are not the same. One can feel the presence without seeing the image, but to produce the results you speak of, the presence in the heart is not sufficient. There must be presence in the whole consciousness and the force of the mother governing all the action of the nature. Question: you wrote yesterday in regard to X vision, openness is not reckoned merely by visions, quite so, but to have a fusion of rays of the sun and moon on each side of the body, and to feel the descent and the mother's presence in, behind and above oneself. Is this not an exceptional vision and experience? Can it occur without sufficient opening to the mother? For the Sri Aurobindo says, why should it be exceptional to see the sun and moon on each side or feel the mother's presence everywhere around? There are plenty of sadhaks who have had these or equivalent experiences. What would be exceptional is to feel the mother's presence like that always. But occasional experiences like this many have had. September 15, 1936. Next subtopic, feeling the mother's presence through a photograph. Question: when I sit in meditation before the mother's photographs or the painting of her feet, I get some force than when I sit at a distance or on my easy chair, for example. I have noticed that this happens invariably, and I suppose it is not subjective merely, but I want to know the real truth from you. For the Sri Aurobindo says, no, it is not subjective merely. By your meditating near them, you have been able to enter through them into communion with the mother, and something of her presence and power is there. Date 14 July 1934. Sri Aurobindo says, your experience about the photograph was a very fine and true experience. The mother's presence can be felt through the photograph by one who regards it with devotion towards her. It was her true presence that was there, her subtle physical presence, and all you felt was true. It shows that your physical mind is opening to the true consciousness. It is quite sure that this will grow and the remnants of the old moments are bound to disappear. 2nd May 1936. Next topic, remembering the mother and feeling her presence. Question: today I felt that the only thing important is the divine and nothing else. I tried to keep this experience all day long, but just before I sat down to write, I felt depression and confusion. But still, I remembered my experience. For the Sri Aurobindo says, this is what should always be done. If instead of yielding to the depression and confusion when they come, you immediately remembered and turned to the mother, calling the light and force, remembering the divine, rejecting everything else, and there these lapses would diminish and light would come into the whole nature. Sri Aurobindo says it is the outer nature that is obscure, and when it is at ease, feels no necessity of remembering the mother. When the difficulty comes, then it feels the necessity and remembers. But the inner being is not like that. Date 11th May 1933. Question: there must be something soiled in human love, otherwise why should I feel like this? After some problem with X in which he told me some unpleasant things, my vital got disturbed and my mind got confused. I kept remembering the incident over and over instead of remembering the mother. I have come here for her. Why then do my mind and vital want to make contact with human beings and acquire their narrow, low and affection? Tell me now what I should do. For this Sri Aurobindo says, These are the usual weaknesses of the human nature when it makes relations with human beings. There are always these clashes and difficulties and turmoil in the vital. If you want to be free from them, do what we have already told you. Look on all with a kindly feeling as children of the mother, but without any special relation and without any expectation from anybody. Yoga depends on equanimity of mind towards all things and persons. 17th November 1933. Sri Aurobindo says, what you have seen as a thing to do is quite correct. To remember the mother always and to offer up to her all that comes is just the thing to do. There must be a condition in which you live within the psychic consciousness with the feeling of the mother's constant presence, while all the outer activities go on only on the surface, and the mother's force acts on them to change them into more and more true psychic and spiritual action. The way you speak of is the best for bringing about that condition. Offer all to the mother in complete confidence and do not be troubled or anxious about the difficulties that rise, but go on calmly and patiently till they pass. 28th March 1936. Question. I will be seeing the mother tomorrow, but I would also like some message from you. Please tell me something which I can always turn to for help and contact during my stay in Bombay. I pray that I may feel the presence of the mother and yourself throughout my days far away and come back safely to my home here at your feet. For this Sri Aurobindo says, remember the mother, and though physically far from her, try to feel her with you, within you, and act according to what your inner being tells you would be her will. Then you will be best able to feel her presence and mine and carry our atmosphere around you as a protection and a zone of quietude and light accompanying you everywhere. 12th December 1936. Sri Aurobindo says, it is quite possible for you to do the sadhana at home in the midst of your work. Many do so. What is necessary at the beginning is to remember the mother as much as possible, to concentrate on her in the heart for a time every day, if possible, thinking of her as the divine mother, to aspire to feel her there within you. Offer her your works and pray that from within she may guide and sustain you. This is the preliminary stage which often takes long, but if one goes through it with sincerity and steadfastness, the mentality begins little by little to change, and a new consciousness opens in the sadhak, which begins to be aware more and more of the mother's presence within, of her working in the nature and in the life of some other spiritual experience, which opens the gate towards realization. 22nd Feb 1937. Next topic, the psychic and the mother's presence. Sri Aurobindo says, the mother's presence is always there, but if you decide to act on your own idea, your own notion of things, your own will and demand upon things, then it is quite likely that her presence will get veiled. It is not she who withdraws from you, but you who draw back from her. But your mind and vital don't want to admit that, because it is always their preoccupation to justify their own movements. If the psychic were allowed to its full predominance, this would not happen. It would have felt the feeling, but it would have at once said, there must have been some mistake in me, a mist has arisen in me, and it would have looked and found the cause. 25th March 1932. Question. When I am alone, I feel a sweet flow of love for the mother and surrender to her welling out from my heart. But when I am in my physical presence, I do not feel this love. Why does this happen? For the Sri Aurobindo says, it is when you live in the psychic that there is this feeling, but the psychic commands at present only a part of the mind and vital. It does not yet control the most external parts. That is why you do not feel it when in the mother's physical presence. Sri Aurobindo says, if you feel the mother's presence for the greater part of the day, it means that it is your psychic being that is active and feels like that. For without the activity of the psychic, it would not be possible. Therefore, your psychic being is there, not at all far off. Date 14th March 1935. These are the words of our Lord Sri Aurobindo.